watch and learn. So watch then and you learn. But you were on that topic. Maybe you can continue.
Yeah. No. Johnny was the deputy prime minister for 9 years, right?
Right. Wasn't
Had he paved
Got you.
1 street per month in 9 years, Orange Walk Central would have been the envy of the nation.
Oh yes, man.
But you walk around and you see there are streets with potholes, the size of the street, the overgrown grass, and I have right here.
That overgrown grass is because the town council or the mayor has a different agenda. So the chopping is not being done as often as possible. Not even the picking up of garbage is being done as often as possible because of the different agenda that the mayor has. You see, so the overgrown grass, we know why that they happen.
Yeah, all right. This is the Belize Times, page 28 of the 1st of November 2020. And in the last paragraph, it reads like this. Orange Walk needs the tandem of Kevin Bernard and John Bersenio. Man, if this is not a joke, tell me what is a joke.
Read it again.
You say,
Read it
Orange
clearer.
Walk needs the tandem of Kevin Bernard and John Bersenio. You say, have it highlighted in yellow.
It needs a tandem of Kevin Bernard
and John Bersenio.
and John Brissino. So what
If
happened?
this is not a joke, tell me what is.
Yeah, but what happened to the other two?
Right?
What happened to the other two?
Then they exclude the other two.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Disrespectful to the one people.
Yes. Now, you know that Kevin Bernard is a big failure. Just go by the riverside. Remember the former Orange Walk Tourism Information Center? Right?
Yep.
No. That had restrooms, it had wash and basin, it had seats, and that is where the tourists departed to go to Lamanai and return. And they have facilities to use.
They, dis-
But go right now and
That
check
is-
out the area.
they dismantled that, right?
They stole the windows, they stole the doors, they stole
They stole
the
the
storage
windows. Or,
facilities, everything
I
done.
thought they dismantled it
Yeah.
and
Right?
put those things up.
No. Kevin Bernard has been there for the past 8 years.
Yep.
He could boast that he hires the highest staff, the highest paid executives on the staff in the country of Belize.
Right.
And that is a financial drain on the finances of the town. That is why you go all over town, you see prickles. Only because I write it in the Guardian, and I put some photos, the prickles are waist high, 3-4 feet high, right in front of the town clock. Now, when prickles start very small,
What we call Berber?
no borrower, the prickle.
The prickle itself that
Yeah.
we not touch and sleep.
No, not
Another
that
one?
one. The
What kind of
prickle,
prickle
got
is that
prickle, right? And so you make it grow 3-4 feet high.
No, that only
They
town
tell you
council.
that is neglect and right in the heart of the town
But isn't that
near
a
the
plant
park.
that they planted?
Well, maybe they want to
Maybe
use
they-
the prickles
Maybe they plant prickle, man.
as the logo for the town council. And then the high grass. You drive around town. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm not
No, I
joking,
have
right?
seen it. I saw it.
Right? You can see the high grass all over town.
Right.
Right? I mean, that is maladministration, that is ineptitude. And now you and tell me that Orange Walk Town is the tandem of Kevin Bernard and John Bersenio? No, man. That is a sick joke.
The leader of the opposition has been there for, when he was DPM, it was like 9 years, right?
Yeah.
That he was there. And practically neglect Orange Walk Central. There was no development. There was no movements compared to when the Honorable Gaspar Vega was there. You saw different things happening.
Yeah.
You saw works happening. You know, and now to be the, to try to be the prime minister of this country, that's a big task. That's a serious task.
You know, deeds speak louder than words. Johnny Bersenio has been a failure for Orange Walk. Now, this man is 29 years in politics collecting personal emoluments from taxpayers. The first time Johnny Bersenio was elected to public office was in 1991 March when he was elected to the town council,
Also as mayor
right? Now, his uncle, Paulo Briceño, was the Minister of Works at the time.
at the time.
Now, he bequeathed, he inherited the political baton to Johnny in 1993 when he won his first elections to the National Assembly.
That is in Central, where he still
In
is.
1998, right, Johnny became the Deputy Prime Minister.
Right?
And that was August 1998.
Yeah.
December the 23rd, this is December 23rd, 1998, right?
December 23rd, 1998.
Yeah, we have here, see?
Uh-huh.
The Chief Justice's annual report on the judiciary, 2006-2007, right?
Right.
And on page 27, we have that Eligio Eloy Joe Briceño, right? He was appointed on the 23rd of December 1999, right? A year with months after Johnny became Deputy Prime Minister, he was appointed, guess what? Commissioner of the Supreme Court. Now tell me,
That
if
was-
this is not a travesty.
Yeah. You have that there, right?
Yes, it's right here.
That kind of. Yep.
It's an official document.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
I mean, Johnny got it all wrong. Now, let's do this one here. His first official driver as minister was my cousin, his cousin, Arturo Acosta.
Okay, I know Turo.
You know him, right?
Right.
Now, sometime afterwards, I don't know, I have to ask my cousin this. Why Johnny stopped having him as his personal official driver? And at that time, may he rest in peace, right? The late Anthony Tuch Gillett.
Right.
He was a bartender at Rounders home.
Yeah, well-known guy.
Yeah. And then Janet took him over as his
Personal
official
driver.
driver, right? And in less than 8 years, 13 years ago, unfortunately, Tuch passed, right? And he left an estate in the bank in excess of $8 million. Now, this is well known in Orange Jog circles. If his personal driver managed to make $8 million plus in a little under 9 years, then how much was the minister making?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
If your driver make that type of money, how much you never make already?
Yeah.
We're
And
having your
then-
family names and so forth.
And then he did talk about corruption.
That corruption is their main tune. They actually have forgotten about their own self, you know. They believe that they're not the perfect ones for run this country.
I got here one document, right? By the Auditor General of Belize. It's Mr. Ed Zuniga has tabled the Auditor General report for the years 2003-2004, and it's a stunning indictment of the general mismanagement of the people's monies under Syed Musa, Ralph Fonseca, and the PUP. According to the Auditor General's report, at least $666,400,000 of Belize's public debt for the period 2003-2004 is unaccounted for. In almost every arena, in records management, arrears of revenue, inventory and stores management, and in public debt records, the audit department found gaps, discrepancies, and illegal activity. Right? The Auditor General found that officials from the Lands Department at the Ministry of Natural Resources, once headed by former Deputy Prime Minister Johnny Briceño, were involved in multiple scams. These officials would lease government lands, acquire title to these lands, and then turn around sell them at a substantial profit. The report takes note that one individual, National Estate Officer Wilbert Vallejo, who was able to acquire 58 different parcels of government land. Either Johnny Briceño was directly involved in the scam, he was sleeping at the wheel, or a combination of both, because Vallejo could not have acquired so much government lands without Johnny Briceño's knowledge. See?
You see?
Now, when you hear Johnny the talk against corruption, you will believe that the man is a saint. When
They portray
Johnny
to
is
be a saint.
corruption incarnate, right? He's corruption in life. How can you trust this man? And remember what the embassy cables say, that Johnny took bribes from the oil companies to the tunes of millions on top of dollars.
Over $3
And
million.
Over $3 million. And the monies were rerouted to buy cable companies from Leadville to Corozal.
Right.
And then when Jules Vasquez on Channel 7 pinned him down, asked him about that, you see Johnny go like this.
Style
And when he
vibrate.
managed to get some composure, then he said that he borrowed the money from the bank. That was 5-6 years ago.
And he can show it.
And to this day, he cannot show you the paper trail.
He promised to show it, and he did
that
not.
he did borrow the money from the bank.
But that money, over $3 million, right? For him, it is not corruption, you know. For him, it probably is just legally helping yourself. You understand? But for us out here, it is corruption. As a matter of fact, he sing one song about Sue because it was played on a certain media house, and Sue, no. So they made it clear to him, you want to sue anybody, go sue the U.S. Embassy.
That's right.
They are the one who brought it out. They are the one who expose you. They are the one who hides your slip and expose you. So you go sue them if you want to sue them. And the people now go down fire if they don't have the record right. They knew exactly what was going on. They knew what the leader of the opposition was doing. That's why they exposed him like that. But he not swindle no money. You understand? We could start right from the border with the Immigration Customs Department land, where he himself bought that land, and the following day sold that said land, government land, for what? Over $1 million?
Well, first, as I gather it, it was sold for $10, and then it was resold to one individual from Corozal, who in turn sold it to the princess,
Who was behind it?
who was the Minister of Lands?
The Minister of Natural Resources, Johnny Briceño.
Johnny Briceño.
Right? But for him, that is not corruption.
That is legally
It's
helping
not
himself.
legally helping yourself. But for us out here, it is corruption, my brother. No care how you want to twist it, no care how you want to put it, you're not good. I tell you. You notice tablets have been dishing out, right?
Yeah.
To the needed children. And I think PG got the most. Thank God for that. And that day tenure, when they were there, Intelco computers, they reached that $10.4 million with these computers. How much came? How much computers came? 3 Lee White one. 3 white one came. That's $10.4 million for 3 white tablets that the children of today was still waiting for when they're done adults now. Some of them probably don't buy their own. No need for now again. But then they get now, because it's reality. It's reality when it comes to the UDP. And never like one long-term promise. They say, yes, we need to get this, we need to do this. The Honorable Patrick Fragor jumped on it, and he got it done. $10.4 million from Intelco computers, and only 3 came to this country. What on do with some money? Isn't that corruption also?
Now, Sam, you raised something very interesting in Telco.
Probably we still pay for that, you know.
Yeah, no, coming to Intelco, right? You know, that was Glenn Godfrey's baby. And It failed because Ashcroft refused to give him interconnection. And Ashcroft publicly stated that Intelco was intended to be a retirement package for the boys in Belmopan. And at that time, well, you know, Musa was the Prime Minister, Fonseca and Johnny was the Deputy Prime Minister. But something interesting happened when Smart came in and Ashcroft agreed to the
Right away.
interconnection, right?
Instant.
But something that we do not know at the time,
We never know who that owner.
yeah, is that he was already in financial cahoots with Johnny and Smart. And something that really attracted my attention, you know, why was Smart always giving better promos, better promotions than
Digital.
BTL?
That
It wasn't
BTL at the time. Yeah,
digital yet,
BTL at the time.
right? It's BTL at the time. But something that we did not know is that there was a secret accommodation agreement.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that too,
And,
Fide.
and privy to that was Francis Fonseca. He was the Attorney General, and the Prime Minister, Said Musa. Both are trained attorneys, you know.
Of course they are.
And in that secret accommodation agreement, if BTL did not make, I think, 15% of profits, then
The government.
it would be offsetted by the government with tax holiday, right? And you know, Smart introduced the bundle.
Look, we take this call. Good morning, SugarCity Morning Show.
Hello, my brother. Why you know the things that don't pass like 13 years ago? That don't pass, man. And Johnny don't went to the last election. That's why. Why you the tag clone fool?
You call the next station and you tell them that, brother. No call it just stupidness. You understand that?
You see,
I will not entertain you.
yeah. You see,
This is the way we the offer.
yeah.
We just talk full like you were call.
People who do not know their history are bound to repeat the mistakes. That is why we have to inform the people about Johnny Briceño's corruption, even if it happened
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Good
No,
morning,
you can't.
SugarCity Morning Show.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have to carry about the school, you know. About the talk. The one the caller we just called. He needs to go to school. He don't know that the past affects the future.
Correct.
That's why they have that band of thieves, Johnny and the rest.
Exactly.
They thief and they want to go back. What
Yep.
do you think they will do?
Same.
They went back to thief. The past teaches you what will be in the future.
That's right.
Thief, millions and millions of dollars. No, they want to go back again. For what? To do the same thing. For thief the nation and the people.
That's true.
This is something we can't accept. I don't see how I ask all PUBs, man, we don't have to have common sense. Common sense, they tell you know, that this bank are robbers, Alibaba thief, they want to get back to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Keep them out. Thank you.
Yes, my brother. Thank you too.
Yes.
You see, if you're right at Alibaba,
Yeah.
you're definitely one.
Yes.
Part
No,
of the gang, right?
Yes, I just mentioned that people who do not know their history are bound to repeat the mistakes. Coming to the auditor's report, right? Remember 1984?
Right.
I don't remember who that was the Auditor General then. Take the call, son.
Let me try to call. Good morning, SugarCity Morning Show.
Hello, what did Barrow's son do, or what Penner do, and what they...
Yeah.
Yeah. Call the next station.
Yes, yes. No, 1984,
Thanks for listening anyway, too.
at the time, Joe Briceño was the Minister of Energy and Communications, and he was the chairman of BEB, Belize Electricity Board. And the Auditor General exposed that Joe Briceño was selling the diesel to the BEB 2 times. Diesel supplies were paid that were never delivered.
Right, that is true.
And who was selling the diesel to BEB? I mean, I sorry to say this, right? But it was his common law wife. I will not mention her name, but
Yeah, no
she
problem,
lives
yeah.
in Chicago, right?
Yeah,
So you could see corruption
at the highest
in
level, man.
1984 with Briseño.
And it
But
carries on.
I want to call her, why Carl, he looked like he unelucidated, right? If he go to school, you know, the Briseño clan has been influencing the politics in New York
For many
since
years.
1954, when universal adult suffrage started. Prior to that, only the haves had the right to vote. And we're not reviving the dead, but at the time there was an Indian-born doctor named William Arthur Stratton George.
Dr. George.
He was known popularly as Dr. George, and he lived at Rancho, right? About quarter mile from town,
Yep.
on the now San Antonio Road. And Dr. George served representing Orange York in the Legislative Council for 8 years, 1946 to 1954, when you had the universal adult suffrage elections. The voting age was 21.
Yeah, it was 21 of them.
Now, John Briseño, John's paternal grandfather, supported the NIP candidate, the National Independence candidate, which was the precursor to what is now the UDP,
The NIP.
right, the NIP. And Dr. George ran on the ticket of the NIP against George Flowers. Now, George Flowers was the husband of a very renowned nurse in Orange York, Nurse Zenobia Meggs,
Norris Max.
and she was better known as Nurse Zeno, right? And Nurse Zeno was a cousin of John Briseño. So, if, like how the Briseños say sometimes, right, that blood thicker than water, why John Briseño never got and support George Flowers, and he got and support the foreign-born doctor, right? Now, 1959, this other elections came, and again the Briseños were NIP. But there's no future
In
with the
NIP.
NIP, so they switched their political loyalty to the PUP. And in 1969, Polo Briseño became the mayor of Orange York. At that time, Elito Urbina won the elections as the PUP area representative for Orange York North,
Right.
right? Guadalupe Pech won for Orange
Orange
York
York
South.
South.
And Elito Urbina became the parliamentary secretary in the House of Representatives. Now, in 1974, Eligio Eloy Joe Briseño became the new area representative. Now, I remember that at that time, they put out some shirts. Cane farmers vote to have your voice in government, because he was the chairman of the Cane Farmers Association. In 1979, Joe Briseño won again the elections by a narrow margin by 23 votes against Eloy Aragon Sr.
That time they believe that some shady deal may go on in the place, right?
Okay, you see what happened at that time?
When we have
They,
blackout
they,
and all
they,
that.
they bring again Courtney,
Yeah.
the senior Courtney,
Senior
right?
Courtney.
And
Big-
at that time,
big-
Ruben,
big thief.
yeah, Ruben and Lot, they were political novices.
Yeah, young,
And-
vibrant
and-
young men at the time.
Yeah, and when people went to vote, right? Some people actually put the eggs a little outside the box, right? For Eloy Aragon.
Right. I remember.
I'm currently arguing that that is a spoiled vote. No, they used to call him the big trombone because of his big mouth, right? And he was bombastic, and actually,
The overpowers, man.
he intimidated, right?
Yeah, intimidators.
And then Ruben and Loden actually did accept that, But today that is not allowed, right? Once you have the intention that you want to vote, right, for certain candidate, even if you go outside the box, that is still a valid vote.
Because the other person you want to vote for.
Yes.
Your intention is clear.
In that year, had those pile votes been counted as valid, Joe Briceño was a goner.
Yeah, he got. He got that for sure. That's for sure. So look, even the elections, the thief that time, 1979, wasn't Elo de Aragon Senior kicked out of the McCullough School too for running for the UDP?
Excuse?
He wasn't. Didn't they ask him to resign from Lamponada School when he ran for the UDP?
Well,
I stand to be
his
corrected.
wife, may she rest in peace, Miss Teresa Aragon,
Because
was
he was
the
a teacher,
principal
right?
at La Immaculada. And, Lot was writing the VSM, the Voice of the Silent
Voice of the
Majority.
silent majority.
After Black Wednesday, May the 25th, 1977, remember when the special unit came and they booted and they tear gas and they clubbed the Key Farmers, right? At that time, Joe Briceño was the chairman of the Key Farmers Association, and he had signed a secret accommodation agreement with Corozal that will allow Corozal Key Farmers to deliver the canes at Tower Hill.
Yeah.
But this was never revealed to the public until the time came that the Key Farmers of Corozal actually started to come to Orange Job. And this created a riot.
I remember that
Right?
clear.
Uh-huh. Sam, it's very ironic. 3 years ago, Joe Briceño was laid to rest on May the 25th, 3 years ago, an anniversary of Black Wednesday, right? It's so sad, no?
Yeah.
But, again, we come to Briceño style leadership. Now, in
Please,
1993, for the PUB convention, when Adrian Leiva, he's not the dean of
FGC.
the Muffles Junior College, right? And he contested the election at Johnny. The Briceños carried an underwater campaign that Adrian Leiva was UDP infiltrating the PUP. And Johnny put banners out in the street that said, Johnny, a new kind of leadership. He was publicly acknowledging that the old leadership was bad, it was corrupt.
Yeah,
His
I
father
use that
leaders.
term, say a new kind
So
of
he
leadership.
said a new kind of leadership. And the people voted for him. And that new kind of leadership proved to be even worse than the old kind of leadership from EPA.
That's true.
Because if his father was corrupt, Johnny refined corruption to a refined art. Now, this is the guy who wants to lead the country as prime minister. Now, folks out there, especially from Orange Walk Central, do not entertain your vote to Johnny Briceño because he is not good. I will tell you, right? Johnny is my cousin. His paternal grandmother and my paternal grandmother were sisters, my grandmother being the elder of the two sisters, right? So that makes Johnny and me cousin. And Johnny's mother and my father were cousins too. They were born in New Creek. So that makes Johnny and me cousin 2 times, right? Now, I was once PUP.
Yeah,
I was writing
Right.
from 1977. I was writing The Torch, and this was produced by Dr. Watson Johnson He was a Jamaican doctor who had his clinic at the corner of Baker Street with Main Street, where Luther's restaurant is right now, right? Then we had the late Fortune Cervantes, Antonio Chabo Orillo, Miss Erciliana Smith, affectionately known as Kechi, and myself. We were writers for the Torch. In 1978, again, I was writing campaign material for the PUP. In 1979, I did the same. But it so happened that, good luck, I got a scholarship to study in the European continent,
Good.
right? And I was not at home when the elections were called. But when I was in Moscow, I told my brother, when the elections results are in, send me a coded telegram. PUP1, brothers in. Brothers in, it meant Said, Musa, and Asa Shuman, because we were supporting them, right? And my brother actually took our family's vehicle to San Ignacio to assist Asa Shuman to take out people. Now, I was in class when the secretary of the dean knocked on the door and asked permission for me to go to see the dean. And when I got there, I said, the dean, he looked somber. I almost started looking when he gave me the telegram. And I opened it. And I smiled. And the dean looked at me and says, what happened? Tell him, good news, Mr. Dean. We are closer to independence. Because remember that the UDP had proposed a moratorium on independence for 10 years, right? So I said, we're closer to independence, 1979. This is the same year when Johnny Bresenio said that Belize gained independence. Remember?
Yeah, 1979.
1979.
Yep.
We will get independence 2 years later on September 21st, 1981. Now, I do not know why Mr. Price chose that date. Certainly he didn't want the 10th because it was considered to be a UDP day.
Yeah.
And he may have wanted it to be the 29th of September, which is the founding of the PUP anniversary, right? But what I like with the date September the 21st is because it's an equinox day, when night and day are of equal duration. And on this day, the earth wobbles on its axis. It does it 4 times a year, right? And on this day, the earth wobbled on its axis to spin on a different axis, and it brings the season of autumn.
Right.
3 months later, on December the 21st, the earth will wobble once again on the axle, and then that brings in winter.
Brings in winter, yes.
And 3 months later, on March the 21st, on December 21st, called the solstice, when the sun is the farthest away from the earth. And 3 months later, on March the 21st, when the earth wobbles again on the axis, then it brings in spring. And 3 months later, on June the 21st, it wobbles again, and it brings in the season of summer. You see? Now, this is one thing I like with our independence, because it is on a very notable day in the calendar.
Who know it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we were going to take a short break, then we'll come back and we'll deal with this kind of thing what the color just talked about. And we'll be right back in a few.
On election day, let's make the right choice. Re-elect Elodio Aragon Jr. With you always, leadership that works, representing Orange East. Because our future matters. Not even a question, who may voting be? You already know we voting for the UDP. Cause they are the best one in the driver's seat. So I put your excited so for the son of the East. Yeah, we talking about who? Aragon, we talking about who? Aragon, the number one, we talking about who? Aragon, one and only son out here of the East. Yeah, we voting for Aragon equality. Voting Aragon, he's the number one, yeah. Vote in Aragon. He get the job done, yeah. And you're so blessed. Hello, the Aragon bring progress. Hard working, not in a novice. Hello, the Aragon show progress. Leadership that works. Tell your Aragon don't come to play. Put the people first. Tell your Aragon have we always. Yeah, you could have charged your poor. Tell your Aragon still on upon your door. 1 vote, 2 vote, 3 vote, 4. I know up yet, even plenty more. The hard work, evident. Humble, genuine and intelligent. When the people we in the witchen. Hello, they're not afraid to go to show the help. Hello, you push the youth and the sports. Push the jobs and the roads. People first and the party after. Cause our future matter. Aragon, 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 we talking about who? Aragon, Aragon, the number one we talking about who? Aragon, Aragon, one and only son out here of the east, yeah. We voting for Aragon equality on election day. Vote Eloyo, Aragon, representing Orinjua East. You will be down the line because our future matters.
Durante el gobierno del UDP, más de 10,000 personas pudieron ser dueños de sus propias casas por medio del programa de cancelación de hipotecas. Bajo el PUP, el DFC estaba en bancarrota. Pero hoy el DFC es una institución robusta y exitosa. El Partido Unido Democrático, UDP, es orgulloso de haber tomado las medidas y obtenido los resultados que benefician a todos los beliceños. Vote UDP porque su futuro es lo más importante.
Meet Johnny. Johnny paid $4,000 to dig a drain around his house. Johnny then sold his house and all its contents for $3,000. Johnny's a fool. Don't be Johnny. The PUP spent $44 million of public funds to dredge out the Port of Belize. The PUP then sold the Port of Belize and all its assets for $40 million to Lucas Pat. Luke defaulted on his loans to Belize Bank. Now Michael Ashcroft owns the port. The PUP. Do you trust them with your future? Vote UDP because your future matters.
Notice the residents of rural communities in Orange Rock and Corozal districts. If you value your health and your children's health, you will dispose of your garbage only at approved sites. The disposal of garbage at any other location is illegal, and if caught, you can be fined up to $5,000. If you don't get caught, you can still suffer health impacts caused by these illegal sites, because illegal dump sites harbor pests such as rodents, possums, and mosquitoes that carry diseases. These can transmit those diseases to you and your children. In addition, the garbage you throw away illegally can contaminate water bodies near your community, the same water bodies you might use for recreation or other purposes. Only with your help can the Department of Environment ensure that Belize's development is safe for present and future generations. You can also contact your local village councils or Belize Solid Waste Management Authority for more information. The Department of Environment thanks you for your help.
Johnny Briceño wants to be the Prime Minister. He tried before, but had to resign as PUP party leader because his own party did not believe in him. That has not changed. Everyone knows he can't handle pressure. Johnny said yes to the ICJ, but voted no. Johnny said COVID response should be non-political, but resigned from the bipartisan committee. Johnny is even afraid to participate in a national debate, but wants to lead our country. We are living in tough times, which calls for a strong leader. A vote for the PUP is a vote for a weak, indecisive pushover who isn't even trusted by his own party. Reject Squeaky Squeaks. Reject the PUP.
Have you ever noticed the development that's taking place in your town or in your city? Maybe it's because you've been too busy enjoying the results. More for Belizeans. More for Belize. The government of Belize. Moving Belize forward.
In July 2020, John Briceño said that he is withdrawing from the COVID Oversight Committee to focus on politics and the PUP. In August 2020, John Briceño said that he will prioritize a COVID-19 response if he gets into office. Belizeans, if you or a loved one is sick with COVID, kindly ask the disease to wait a little while Briceño and the PUP deal with party matters first. And while the PUP is dealing with party matters, the government frontline workers and first responders, along with your UDP team, have been facing the challenges of COVID-19 to keep you and your family safe. This is not a time for weak leadership. Vote UDP because your future matters.
Motor 5.0, 4 válvulas por cilindro. Todos quisiéramos una. Como que no agarra, ¿no? Siento como que se le pega el balancín. Vamos a darte el aceite que te mereces. Vas a correr como rayos preciosos.
Los que huimos más allá de las revoluciones, hablamos máquina. Rochras, poniendo el mundo a funcionar.
Agente autorizado German Vega y Sons. Teléfono 322-3625. Rochfrans.
On election day, vote for UDP and Carlos Latina, representing Orange Rock North. Cause with future matters, we voting for Carlos. Cause with future matters, voting for Latina. Cause with future matters, we voting for Carlos. Cause with future matters, voting for a leader.
Welcome back to the SugarCity Morning Show. I'm sitting here with Johnny Briceño's cousin.
Yes, now, I decided to move away from the PUP because of their corruption. And you know what? In 1981 December, Mr. Rick Castillo, a councillor of the town board, headed by Mayor Polo Briceño, came just days before Christmas with a white envelope. Wow, I said, at last I remember at the young Christmas here. You know what I got? An expulsion letter from the PUP. You know?
Why did that happen?
Huh?
You got an expulsion letter from the PUP?
Yes, not only me, right? Deliet Domingo Perez, Eduardo Salas, Landy Burns, Chavo Orillo, Erciliana Smith, had Manuel Baiza, Elmer Santana, you know, and a host of others. We were officially expelled from the PUP.
Kicked out of the PUP?
Yes, you know why? Because the Briceños were waiting for Johnny, because Johnny was still in Pampers, right? To grow up. Yeah, he has never grown. He's never grown, right?
The groomer.
And they were waiting for Johnny to get out of his Pampers so that they could hand over the PUP leadership to Johnny, right? Then they treat the PUP leadership as a furniture, a piece of furniture that you hand over from father to son, from uncle to nephew. And they were steering that position for Johnny. And Johnny won his first election as a town councillor in 1991. And up to now, since 1954, the Briceños have been influencing the politics in Orange Rock. That is 66 years, right? And again, the release times, you know. We have here remarks by Mrs. Rosana Briceño, the launch of Plan Belize Biltmore Plaza, right? Say, good morning. Today is a school day. I am supposed to be with my hard-working staff at St. Peter's Anglican School. I hope they will not call me out for skipping this morning's session. You know? Anyway, it's good that she supports her husband, right? And she says, John and I have been truly blessed. We have 3 wonderful sons. This means that with 3 wonderful sons, Johnny, they can continue influencing the politics from 66 years to to more than 100 years. Because remember, he brought his brother, Jorge Briceño, from Chicago to run in Orange Jog North,
Yeah,
but
that
he
was a-
lost to
Yeah, that was a
Gapi,
failure.
right?
Yeah,
You know?
he was a failure.
Yeah. So the way I see it, it looks like Johnny wants start to put a family to run in every single constituency. And you don't want to give up the position,
He has to.
right? No. Politics has been the super highway for wealth and power for the Briceños, the Briceño politicians. Now, knowing the corruption, I cannot vote for Johnny Briceño, even though blood runs in our veins, right?
Both your opinions, yeah.
Correct, you know? I will certainly vote for Danny Grijalma.
All right.
Take the call.
Good morning. SugarCity Morning Show.
You're talking about grooming someone to go into politics. Talking about grooming Johnny Briceño. At least he was groomed and he was taught to love his country. But there we have Shine Barrow, a criminal, the son of the Prime Minister. Right? He wasn't groomed. He was forced into politics just to get into power. Likewise, his son, Anwar Barrow,
Look,
this vast amount of millions of dollars.
listen, you and
Then you have the Prime Minister brother and his ex-wife.
Sorry, you call the next station and discuss that.
Yeah,
We know they have
make
that.
a call, call me.
Yeah. We have to
Or-
call, so
or-
thanks for listening in any way.
Yeah, no. I said that I will certainly vote for Danny Grijalva. You might say that he was born in Guatemala, right? But if you know the situation, the general political situation in Guatemala, right? The systematic violation of human rights, you know, the poverty that the people live in, the futureless Guatemala, right? Now, his father decided to come when Daniel was a little boy. And he grew up here in Belize. And he is a Belizean, like any born here Belizean,
Has
right?
the same rights.
So he have the same rights. And then he has more assets than a lot of prominent PUPs. And he will never go back to Guatemala. And then remember that this problem that we have with Guatemala can only be solved through the International Court of Justice in Den Haag, Netherlands, or The Hague in the Netherlands, right? And then he campaigned for going to the ICJ. And Johnny said, yes, he was pro-ICJ. And then he said he was against the ICJ. You see, Johnny's flamboyant indecisiveness on crucial leadership issues of national importance, right? The man is denying. How can we trust Johnny with the reins of government? I remember that he has this unholy alliance with Ashcroft.
Oh, yes.
Ashcroft, you know, the secret accommodation agreement. He and Johnny are co-owners of SMART. Ashcroft intended hostile takeover of the Scotia Bank to dominate the banking sector in Belize. Right now it is Scotia, then maybe he will go after Heritage. And he might even end up owning the central bank. Because remember, right now he owns the Port of Belize, a strategic revenue generating agency of the government. Now, how did that happen? If you recall that Musa handed over the port to Lucas Pat, who got a loan from the Belize Bank and he could not pay, and that is how Ashcroft ended with the port, right?
Yeah.
You see?
It was orchestrated that way. It was set up that way from day one.
Oh,
I port where they make money.
Yes, I believe with you, right? So, I mean, how can you trust the PUP man? How can you trust John, you see? BLU. Briceño's leadership unreliable. That is what BLU stands for.
Right.
And I cannot vote for Johnny. I want to ask the people on York Central who are not related to Johnny, if I am his blood cousin and I cannot vote for Johnny, why will you, who are not related to Johnny, why will you vote for him? Right? Think about it. The future of the country is at stake. Johnny is beholden to Ashcroft. Patrick Farber is not, right? The UDP is not.
No.
And Sam, now check this one out, right? In these times of COVID, when there's no work, people not generating money to support themselves, and people not eating enough.
Yeah.
Technical.
Good morning, SugarCity Morning Show.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to talk about history. Es bueno hablar de historia. Y un hombre que estaba andando en historia fue Manuel Esquivel. Y uno de sus discursos decía justicia social, igualdad, social justice and equality.
Yep.
Entonces dice constitutional rights. Otro de sus dichos también decía tienes que ver realidades y opiniones. Realities and opinions. Son cosas que son buenos recordar. Y en el tiempo de Manuel Esquivel, acá en Caledonia no teníamos un representante del IDP.
Yep.
Pero acá entró la corriente y entró el agua potable.
Okay.
Bueno, espérate que te quiero decir.
Sí.
Pero después de eso, desarrollo no vino más en Caledonia. Yo conocí a Manuel Esquivel, yo conocí a Bin Lindo en el tiempo que se formó Corsar United Front, LIP, y parece que Christian. Ese fue en 1975.
All right.
Yo estaba joven en ese tiempo, ahorita tengo 72 años.
Good.
Y entonces, mira, ahorita la cosa aquí en la aldea, muchos de nuestra gente vieja soñaron que iban a tener el camino de Caledonia a Buenavista. Y no, nunca sucedió nada. Yo estoy decepcionado de las cosas que están sucediendo, ha sucedido en nuestra aldea. El partido quedó viejo, nuestra aldea quedó viejo y nada de desarrollo. Mira, las cosas nosotros que no es que abandonamos el partido, pero estamos descontentos cómo están las cosas, ¿ves? Mucha gente no puede sacar su caña porque el sugar road no está bueno. En un tiempo, ¿ves? Nosotros dependemos de la caña, la gente se corta, no tenemos doctor, no tenemos, ¿cómo se llama? Nurse, no tenemos pastillas, no tenemos nada. Hay tiempos que el camino está malo para salir a Buenavista. ¿Quién hace caso por nosotros? ¿Quién tuvo la culpa que la gente está molesta? ¿Quién tuvo la culpa que la gente está dividida ahorita? Y a Caledonia no lo puedes llamar el UDP Village. Ya se partió a la mitad, como dijo el cantante Chicoche, un partido a la mitad. ¿Quién tuvo la culpa? Si ellos hubieran seguido la enseñanza de Manuel Esquivel, las cosas no estuvieran así ahorita. Entonces, mira, vinieron y pusieron unas cuantas luces. Lo pusieron en el puesto donde la persona que esté encargado. Entonces, tú dime, ¿qué cosa va a suceder después? ¿Qué cosa va a suceder después? Nosotros estamos decepcionados con esta situación que está pasando.
En Caledonia.
Llevamos a la clínica, llevamos nuestras enfermas que le limpian su pie. Yo tengo una mujer, mi señora está diabética. No hay ni ¿cómo le llaman? Antiséptico, la cosa para limpiar su herida. No hay ni el vendaje, no hay nada. ¿A dónde está nuestra contribución del Seguro Social, hermano? Díganme. ¿Ustedes creen que tenemos el derecho de estar molestos? Mira, ahorita se dio dinero para el subsidio del cañero. Muchos de nosotros lo conseguimos. Mi hijo no consiguió, mis primos y cuánta gente acá no consiguieron. Somos cañeros pequeños. La comida se distribuye a una forma, quién sabe cómo. Pero estoy diciendo, ¿tenemos razón? Pregúntate si tenemos razón o no tenemos razón.
I'm
¿Tenemos
listening to
de-
you.
o no tenemos de?
But who is your area rep in that area?
No tenemos representante, pero estoy diciendo, mira, escucha,
Yeah.
en el tiempo de Manuel Esquivel no teníamos, nunca hemos tenido representante. No, hablamos de justicia social e igualdad, ¿verdad? Entonces, nuestro derecho constitucional nos da el derecho de que nos metan agua. A ver, hay una expansión. La gente ahorita, los niños andan con las chanclas en la mano, no lo andan en el pie. Anda ahorita con esta lluvia. Anda a ver cómo está el new site que se hizo allá. No hay agua, no hay luz, no hay camino. En este siglo que estamos viviendo, aunque entre los tablets, ¿a dónde está la electricidad para que lo puedan usar nuestros hijos? Piensen en eso. ¿Quién va a ser el otro representante? ¿Qué gobierno va a tener? Pero recuerden Caledonia.
Okay.
Bueno, que tan siquiera que vaya todos los días a caminar en el sitio nuevo, para ver si puede caminar. Tiene que buscar unas botas, pero uno rete alto. Gracias.
All right, thank you too. Well, I didn't know it is a lot bad in Caledonia, but I'm sure you have to have a representative. So,
En el caso de Caledonia, ¿no? Si no me equivoco, está en Corozal Southeast. Y esa área ha estado dominada, como en Orange, ¿no? Por el clan Marín. Por el clan Marín. Y los primero fue Florencio Marín Sr. y ahora es Florencio Marín Jr. Y los marines nunca se han preocupado por las aldeas en Corozal Southeast. Por ejemplo, Sarteneja es una de las aldeas más bonitas que tenemos aquí en el norte. Yo me acuerdo hace más de 20 años cuando yo fui a Sarteneja para un domingo, un Easter Sunday, ¿no? Un domingo de Pascua, Florida. Y cuando llegué a Sarteneja, me dio la sensación de que estaba entrando en una postal. El mar tan bonito, las matas de coco, las bonitas casas de Sarteneja. Y me sentí también. Y dejé de ir por las condiciones del camino. El año pasado fui para atender un meeting de BENIC, Belize National Indigenous Council. Y me sorprendió que Sarteneja ha desarrollado bastante, pero el camino está feo. Y ahora se va a hacer la carretera para Sarteneja con los puentes y todo la infraestructura necesaria. Lo que quiere decir que va a haber un florecimiento económico en el norte de Belice. En lugar de ir a Bacalar, mejor vamos a comer el pescado en Sarteneja. ¿Lo viste? Así de que hay mucho potencial, pero como dice el señor, de que no han tenido representante. Sí, porque lamentablemente Corozal Southeast ha estado votando por los políticos marín. Y este año es un año bastante auspicioso porque el norte, Corozal Southeast, tiene la oportunidad dorada para elegir a un candidato UDP que dé buena representación en lugar de los políticos marín, igual como aquí con Briceño en Orange.
Well, I don't know who is the representative out there, right? But it sounds like a tribal state. I do feel it for the villagers there. And I know Caledonia has been strong with for some time now. And some attention needs to be put into it. I mean, we need to do...
That's a valid concern, you know?
It is a valid concern. We need to do something about it. I mean, if the streets are bad in the village, then, hey, if you're listening and you're in the area, you're responsible for administrative works, whatever, help out the people there, get out there.
Yeah. No,
right? I can understand we must wait till the weather holds up, but then the holes were there already, I believe, and the weather just compound the situation, right? Worsen the situation.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
It's an act of God, right?
So that's Mother Nature. But then the situation and the shot electricity in certain areas. Well, once again, I must say to you that the government is working with telemedia to make sure that you have hotspots where you can use your tablets, right? So in Caledonia, there will be a hotspot where you have internet. You understand?
Yeah.
So that not be much of a problem. You just have to go to the hotspot where the internet is, and you can use your tablet. But again, I call on those responsible.
Yeah.
According to the caller, Caledonia needs some help with their streets. But
Some-
and if you go to the part where the caller before talked about what happened to Penner, right? No, I know where he's coming from. He's talking about the passport. Penner slipped down with a passport. We all know that. We all know that. He was not awarded another portfolio. He was not pampered. He was not put on a throne. He was put in the rearview mirror. Unlike Max Samuels, who his passport was cancelled, his visa was cancelled in Miami for over 200 the sale of passports. That's a big difference compared to Pena, you know. That's a mighty big difference compared to Pena. 200 passports by Max Samuels. When you get to Miami, bam, hold on. You know they fly through the States. You can't put your foot back to the States here. PUP minister, I cancel a passport. You want to go back to Belize, go back to Belize. He never come back to Belize City. They flew him around the state to where they had the summit, where cost taxpayers a lot of money. Right? All the thing is still hurt this country. When he came back, they gave him another portfolio. Right? Okay, you do good with the passports that you sold. Well, 7 of these passports went into the hands of terrorists. That is one of the reasons why his visa was cancelled. You understand me? So, and right away, we put Pena behind. You understand? You, the out, you no count on no more sit-ins, you done. That's the way the UDP operates.
Yeah. Okay, coming to this Belize Times, November the 1st, right? And it says PUP standard bearer on the move. And this one here, Clare Northeast, Orlando Habet. Now, this guy had a serious problem when he was working with the Ministry of Agriculture for stealing the cows. And I'm mentioning this on the air.
That is public knowledge, right?
Yeah, that's public knowledge. The cows, he was in charge of stores in Central Farm. And the cows walked over to Running W. And he was selling the cows and collecting the money on his behalf. The checks, rather than go appear to the order of the government of Belize, were put to his name.
The checks were written up to his name.
He was caught, right? The police got the government hides because the cows had already been...
They were branded too.
Yeah, they were branded, right? They had been killed. And when the elections were held, I was in Cayo those days. They were saying, where's the beef? Right? No, this guy won the elections in Cayo Northeast. No, the people committed a travesty against themselves that they can write these elections by voting him out. Because this guy is corrupt. Mm-hmm. Now, actually, as a member of the Public Services Commission, I and the secretary of the commission, we voted to dismiss him from the public service. But at the time, the UDP minister, Salvador Fernandez, had lobbied the members of the commission to give a little break.
Yeah.
Because he sympathized with the man, because he was his campaign manager. But then, you know what we did? Okay, Since 4 or more than 2, well, we could not dismiss him, but we demoted him, got him out of government stores, brought down his salary, and a month after, a scholarship here from Colombia that had to do with cattle breeding. And the ministry recommended Orlando Abed to go to that training program. But the commission decided that no, that will be rewarding dishonesty, so we did not send him. He resigned from the public service. We had to pay him a gratuity and a pension when he reached the mandatory retirement age of 55, right? Now, this corrupt guy, Orlando Habet, the PUP has him as a candidate in Cayo. I mean, Johnny, what is your doctrine on corruption? When you have the corrupt ones, including yourself, you have this other guy over here, Julius Spot. Man.
They don't care about that, as long as you can win a seat, the leader of the operation and the rest of them, they do not care what you have done. If you can win a seat, we want you back. Who was worse than Cordell Hyde?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With giving scholarships to 5-year-old and stuff like
Yes,
that.
uh-huh.
But they brought him back in because they knew that with Cordell, is safe, right? They knew that. So to hell with what he did down the stretch. We don't care what you did. We don't care how much money you steal.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care what you did. But you want to come back and run for the PUP.
Yeah.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way they operate. And that's not the way to go.
You
have to punish these people when they do wrong.
Yeah. Por una cuestión práctica, como vimos que el Señor nos llamó de Caledonia en español, entonces quiero hablarle también a la audiencia en español, porque tenemos muchas gentes en las aldeas que nos están escuchando. Estamos en condiciones críticas con la pandemia. Y el UDP ha decidido de que no van a poner banderas, no van a hacer camisetas. El dinero que se puede gastar en esto, malgastar en eso, se está dando para dar un poco de ayuda a la gente. Porque créeme o no, la gente no está comiendo bien, la gente no está comiendo suficiente. Yo hablé con una abuela y me dice, Wilfrido me dice, no lo vas a creer, dice. Aquí dice, 2 ramens, estamos comiendo 4 de nosotros, dice. El poquito dinero que tenemos, dice, eso se gasta en las 2 nietecitas, porque ellas tienen que comer. Nosotros que somos adultos, dice, podemos aguantar el hambre. Lo que quiere decir es que mucha gente está pasando hambre porque no estamos trabajando. Desde febrero que yo trabajé, porque yo trabajo en turismo, yo no he hecho un centavo. Y en estas condiciones de la pandemia, el UDP ha hecho bien en no malgastar dinero en rótulos, en banderines, y así. Pero, date cuenta que está haciendo Johnny. El sábado llegó una grúa de Belice con unos lowboys.
3 lowboys.
3 lowboys, trayendo equipo para instalar una bandera hasta allá arriba. Según el supervisor del Conconstur, le pregunté, jefe, le digo, ¿qué proyectos están haciendo aquí? Me dice, vamos a poner una bandera 150 pies de alto. Si nosotros permitimos 10 pies para un piso de edificio, entonces esa bandera estaría la estatura de un edificio de 15 pisos. Y entiendo de cada día que esa bandera está allá arriba, de que está generando $4,000
por día.
Bueno, $4,000 por día.
From Saturday.
Se puede usar muy bien y Vamos a hablar algo práctico, ¿right? Vamos a decir que es obvio que Johnny no va a ayudar a ningún UDP. Pero hay muchos UDPs bien necesitados allá afuera. Si él usara $200
muchos PUPs
para ayudar a los PUPs más necesitados, él puede ayudar a 20 familias por día. Esa bandera, porque desde que el camión salió de Belice, ya está ganando.
Right.
Así de que van a ser 12 días hasta el día de elección. Si multiplicamos 20 familias por 12 días, 240 familias PUPs pueden conseguir un pantry de $200 cada uno.
One good pantry.
Eso es ayudar a la gente.
Instead of put that machine out there.
Esa bandera allá arriba no puede votar. Las camisetas no pueden votar, los rótulos no pueden votar. Y tampoco tienen sentimiento, no sienten hambre. La gente es el que está sintiendo el hambre en New York Central, especialmente. Johnny ya gastó como $500,000 solamente poniendo billboards, placards, camisetas, empleando gentes para impresionar a la gente. ¿Ve? Blue.
And the company that owns the crane is doing good.
Yes. Briceño's leadership unreliable. Eso es lo que quiere decir Blue. ¿Ven? Así de que esa es otra razón porque la gente de Orange York Central debe de rechazar su liderazgo fallido de Johnny. Porque Johnny no representa nada bueno para Orange York Central y mucho menos para todo el país de Belice. Así de que yo le estoy pidiendo a la gente de Orange York Central, por favor, ya es tiempo de terminar su liderazgo de Johnny. Johnny ha estado viviendo vacaciones pagadas, cortesía de los contribuyentes beliceños desde 1991 hasta ahorita. Lo está viviendo gordo. 66 años de dominación y manipulación bricenista en Orange York es demasiado. Ya es tiempo de ponerle fin. Y eso solo se puede lograr si votamos por el señor Denny Grijalva el 11 de noviembre próximo. Piénsenlo bien. Ya es tiempo de acabar con el liderazgo bricenista en Orange York.
They talk about a change, but the change is coming for true in Central.
Yes, es muy cierto. Y en todas las otras áreas en Orange York, en el East, en el Este, hay que votar para Elodio Aragón Jr. En el Norte hay que votar para Carlos Cetina. En el Sur hay que votar para Miss Lupe Magaña. Porque cualquiera que vote para un candidato del PUP indirectamente está votando para el corrupto de Johnny. Hay que tener conciencia. Piénselo bien, abran sus mentes. Hay que votar para el UDP. Yo lo voy a hacer. Háganlo ustedes también.
Good, you got to start well. We'll be taking a short break, and we'll be back with the last segment in just a few.
On this election day, we are asking all the people from Orange Walk Central to come out and support and vote for Mr. Denny Grijalva all the way. Denny, the man we want for Central, the man we could depend on, yeah. Denny, the man we want for Central, the man that we will vote for. Look on the work that Denny has done without no power by his side, helping the poor getting their land. We said that's a man with a plan, more jobs opportunity for the youth.
Grijalva, whom I'm asking you to give your full support to, of course, bring back this constituency of Orange Walk Central to the fold of the United Democratic Party. Benny has been a hard worker, he deserves an opportunity, and you can be assured that once he delivers the seat, when he delivers the seat, of course he will be an integral part of the new administration of the United Democratic Party. 4 terms to go, and we need your support for Denny and for the UDP.
Dry shampoo is the quick and easy way to instantly refresh your hair between washes. Simply spray, massage and brush. For hair that is refreshed with added body and great texture, so you have time to boss the morning routine. Yes, you can. Batiste Dry Shampoo.
Distributed by Vegas Imports.
Honorable Elonio Aragon remains steadfast in his commitment of delivering on his pledge to the people of Orange Walk East. As a result, Palmar Village is receiving much needed attention. The main street that passes through the village, which has been eroded due to rains and use over time, has been upgraded by your area representative and the government of Belize. Street works will be ongoing in the area. Honorable Elonio Aragon and the government of Belize. Leadership that works.
Let's take a look at the PUP DNA. Julius Espat, representative for Cayo South, was sold the Chief Justice residence by a PUP government for a mere pittance and turned around and flipped it for over $1 million. Cousin Luke Espat got a sweetheart pass from the then PUP government when they sold him the country's most valuable asset in the Port of Belize, and he allowed Ashcroft to take it over. Now cousin Mike Espat, representative for Toledo East, brought the VOA compound in PG with a DFC loan, which was later written off. He sold it for millions. Corruption is in the PUP DNA.
Is there anybody out there? Anybody out there? Can anyone hear me now? Can anyone hear me now? It's time to move this country forward. We can put it in the hands of the powers. Patrick Barber, that is man. He's not afraid to stand up and fight for a nation. We need honesty, integrity, unity. So we staying with the UDP for honesty, integrity, and unity. Both Patrick and the UDP, we moving forward, because our future matters.
welcome back to the SugarCity Morning Show. Here alongside me is Wilfredo Novello. And we're gearing up for next week, Wednesday, no?
Yep.
When we all go to the polls and vote for the party that has pushed this country forward, proven leadership, the United Democratic Party. On election day, here in Orange Rock, we vote for the son of the East, Elodio Aragon Jr. We go down south to the Iron Lady, Miss Lupe Magana Dick. We cast our votes for her also. Carlos Cetina, the man that is born in the north, the man from Douglas, rooted there. We cast our vote for Carlos Cetina so that the work can continue. Who are they miss? They miss the big man.
Danny Grijalva.
The leader of the pack.
Yeah.
Danny Grijalva.
Yes.
The man who really have improved Central. I believe he has done some work in San Esteban also. He has been doing his thing. There is no two way about it. He's not afraid to work. He's not afraid to work pro bono. He does his thing. He gets the streets fixed to improve our lives. So we vote for Danny Grijalva next week, Wednesday also. Because we must stick with the UDP as our future matters.
That is right, Sam. I said I will vote for Danny. And I know that a lot of PUPs have pledged that they are tired and fed up with Johnny.
Yeah, they still haven't seen, they only see him around election time.
Yeah. Now, Orange Rock Central stands to gain with Danny.
That's right.
And if Johnny was paying one street per month during the 9 years that he was the Deputy Prime Minister, Orange Rock Central would have been entirely uplifted. Danny has the machinery and the equipment and the people to pave the streets. So voting for Danny definitely means that Orange Rock Central stands to gain. The lives of PUPs and UDPs and OPs will be enhanced. So we definitely need to vote for Danny to be the ear representative for Orange Rock Central.
That is true, because look, when the PUP won in 98, right? This country was not in such a bad state as it was when we took it over in 2008. From 98 to 2008. Look, Maharani Heights, $87 million. Intelco, $40.5 million. Universal Health Services, $33.5 million. Can we go there and get free services? We can't, but this government will pump $33.5 million in our Universal Health Services.
And that is a private institution.
It is.
Nobody's going to get an aspirin there.
You can't go there. You need to put on down payment as you reach. But yet, the PUP government at the time pumped in $33.5 million into that healthcare system. DFC Layout House Inside, $2.3 million. Carl Petch, $7.7 million. Small Farmers Bank, $40 million. The soybeans project, that was a quite interesting one, $30 million. That project never did come to light, and the money was there. They're going to have a someone back here, so we're overgrown. You can't see the building, a nice building. You can't even see it. $30 million soybeans project. Intelco Computers, $10.4 million. San Lorenzo House Inside, $1.8 million. Still if you account for the money there. The drainage of the Port of Belize, $50 million. Los Lagos House Inside, $37 million. Novello's National Transport, we all know that one, $30 million. Galleria Maya, $7.9 million. the tuber Belize factory house, $1.2 million. This, the way the PUP actually just squander out.
But you never mentioned the 3.34 million stolen from Social Security by court, remember?
And
the Supreme Court ordered that court pay back the money with interest. But when there was a change of government and the change of the chairperson,
that is stolen money, that is liquid cash.
That was just written off.
Yeah, because they went to the court and they said they have no interest in collecting that $3.34 million. You know? Good morning, SugarCity Morning Show. Good morning, SugarCity Morning Show. Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's the first thing they did. Write off $3.34 million, right?
Yeah.
When they won, they make sure they protect their brother.
In kind.
Yeah. They make sure they protect him. But we're not going back to vote for that type of thing, yeah? How you bring back the thief net in your house?
The truth is right. How you put the rat in mind the cheese?
Yeah, we can't afford to bring back these people. We cannot, and we will not. We will not. Take this call. SugarCity Morning Show, good morning.
I'd like to be on the air, please.
You're on the air, my brother.
Morning, Sam. Morning, Mr. Novello.
Morning, my cousin.
Morning.
Watch out, Mr. Sam.
Yes, sir.
This thing here, that 3.34 million. The Supreme Court ordered, the highest court in the land, ordered that this money was to be paid.
Right.
And this person that was in charge of Social Security, is she higher than the laws in the country, the laws of the land? She should be in jail because she should be charged for contempt of court. The Supreme Court ordered that this man must pay back this money. How she jump up and holler about here and write it off? That's not she money.
Exactly.
I think they should investigate you, and that's one of the first one where the leader of the opposition supposed to say, get the jail for the Belizean people money.
Yeah.
Because the Social Security money, that we money what we contribute, how much court we contribute to it? You dead and gone to hell already, and this money not pay. And the family and the definitely stay today, so then they go and they pour out fight. The thing what happened in the PUP, every time you notice that one special person they get their big amount of money and they write off. So what happened? That what happened the way where the poor people are on the outside where they're so low. Thank you.
Good, my brother. Well said.
Okay. The person who's in charge of Social Security, the chair, right, is a trained attorney. And for the write-off, she got a good promotion, you know. She was promoted to ambassador to the United States. You know, this is how PUP corruption goes. And Johnny already has the corruption infrastructure in place. He don't have it, the corrupt ones. Right? Get the right here when it release time, right? Julius Espat, Orlando Habet, Florencio Marin, Dolores Baleramos Garcia Maras. She did come back again.
Another crook.
Yeah. Man, really, Francis Fonseca.
He may know about
secret
accommodation.
Yeah.
And everybody want to come back and run again, man.
Mm-hmm.
But the brakes will be pulled on him. He know the beat out here. But he win that seat. So Francis, make a tell you one time bye-bye.
The whole PUP is supposed to bye-bye. You know, one time there was an internal debate within the PUP. Some said that they represented the arm of the new PUP because they may know that the old PUP was very corrupt. The late Dr. Cecil Renault, who was dropped by by Senator Moya, right, for the mayorship of Belize City. He said it like this: there is no such thing as a new or an old PUP. There is only one PUP. And this tells you a mouthful, because it's the corrupt PUP. And the PUP will never change, right?
I know the see.
The DNA of the PUP is corruption.
Yes, yeah, it's corruption. That there. Simply because you notice that okay, when the UDP won in '84, Lord man, for clear bills, right? Let's start float the country. We lose '89. PUP won. They call elections in 3.5 years in '93. The UDP get back in, clear up their mess again. All the time that we wipe for them, but all the time that we clearing it up. You know? And this continue to happen. We took a lick in '98. They get in there. As a matter of fact, when they get in, they believe that they're safe in their country. Right? They want to run things how they see it right for them, not for we. They did what is best for them, not what is best for the country. You dig? So they continue to just like roll high. Minister drivers, they make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Millions.
That's why we reached there. You know? They just never care. They just never care about the people of this country because they do what they think was best for them. While we out here they suffer, then they reap. Now all of a sudden they care about poor people. All of a sudden they care about poor people. We win 2008, we found the mess that this country was in, left by the PUP. That's super bun. That's no joke. And let's say they win back we way. Right? Then they promise all kind of thing what they do. They want to do this, they want to do it next. Super bun the death make no bloody pay. That's still there. Yeah, we take one relief right now because of this pandemic. But the super bun one still there for no, so no, I can't do nothing, my brother. We don't have to find 26 million every 3 months. That's one shortcut to know from the plans. But with a UDP government, this government know what way to do. They renegotiate that bond. We take one break off it, but it's still a FPA. Still a FPA. So to every time the UDP comes back in power, taking over the ship from the PUP, the UDP goes through a lot to bring back this country. Like what I said the last time. Capital B, no? Billion?
Yeah, billion.
A billion with a capital B. No shame at all.
Sam, coming back to the general report, right? For the period 2003-2004, that at least 666,400,000 of Belize's public debt is unaccounted for.
Imagine?
$666 million of Belizean taxpayers' money went up in thin air. It is unaccounted for. Now, when the UDP took over and started to use the Petrocari money, you could see the infrastructure from north to south, east to west, and every place in between. You can see that the development, that things have gotten better. Remember when the PUP put up signs from San Felipe all down to Orange Walk during the time of Salus Lisama, that they went pave the street, the road, right? And that never happened. It is thanks to the UDP that from right here in Orange Walk town, the traffic light, to San Felipe going all the way to Blue Creek, right? The road is paved. Now the other day, I went with a group of students, that was last year, to Lamanay, at a Tilit bus. And it took us 23 minutes from the traffic light to reach to the last paved area in San Felipe just before we take to go to Lamanay. 23 minutes. I remember that this bus has to stop because they have a lot of bumps.
That's hard driving, though.
Huh?
That's a lot of driving.
No, it just means that the road is good.
I know.
Right? Imagine if you go, and pick up one car, you do it in less time. Right? That has improved the quality of life in the people for the people on York South, because prior to that, people were eating dust, they were inhaling dust, and when they were sleeping, the dust goes into the people's homes in the villages. But no, I mean, the quality of health has improved for the people from York South.
Isn't that making your life better?
Of course.
All right.
It means that you will not be suffering pulmonary
Yeah, let's
illness.
visit to the doctor.
Right, and so on. And that all the time, PUP just promised that they will pave the road from San Felipe to Oranjak. It never happened. It happened with the
And
UDP.
they put back that sign in 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put it back up.
Every time. You know how long Florence O'Marin has been saying that he will be paving from the...
Sartanaha Road?
Not Sartanaha, from Progreso to San Esteban? That was just an empty promise. No. The road will be paved with bridges and everything, so that Sartanaha will have improvement, more economic activity, and it is happening with the UDP. Now, remember the other day, Johnny threatened the contractors countrywide. He said, beware, say beware like this, but the intention is that mind how they buy equipment and machinery and so on, because when we review the contracts, and this is a threat.
It is a threat.
Right?
A serious one too.
Because then they tell the contractors, you know what, you'll lose a contract. No invest in buying new updated equipment, because we will review the contracts, right? So that means that the road to Caracol will not be paved, and we need to have that road paved, because Caracol is one of our most important archaeological sites.
According to them, nobody lived there.
Remember that in Caracol we have archaeological evidence that is carved in stone that Caracol conquered Tikal in the year AD 562. Lord Walter was the king of Caracol, and he captured Lord Double-Lord, the king of Tikal. And we know that from the archaeological record that Caracol conquered Naranjo, that is in today's Guatemala. They also conquered a site that is known as Ucanal, that is in Guatemala, and the archaeological record in Caracol is saying that Caracol conquered a Maya city known as Bital, but Bital has not been found. Bital is still under the oppressive control of the roots of trees somewhere in the jungles of either Guatemala or Belize, right? And at Caracol we have archaeological evidence of contact with the Olmec civilization. Now the Olmec civilization flourished in the states of Tabasco and Veracruz in Mexico. So that Caracol is one of our most important archaeological sites. That building was known as Cana, the Sky House or the Sky Palace. Stands about the height, I believe, about a 17-story building. And way up there at the top, you have few buildings that in archaeology they're known as triadic type of constructions, right? Which certainly puts them in the pre-classic period before the birth of Christ. And those buildings, when you climb them, they are about the height of a 3-story building, way up there, And there's one building that I saw a hieroglyphic inscription that bears a Maya calendar date of a 6 Katun period ending. And that would place that building in the year AD 605. Now, I tell you this because I deal with a lot of archaeology and epigraphy, the science of glyph reading, right? Right? And when I do Lamanai, I enjoy it because then I can read the hieroglyphic text of one of the most beautiful car monuments found anywhere in the Maya world, the stela dedicated to Lord Smoking Shell. And John is certainly will put a halt to that Caracol Road. Now we need to peer from San Felipe to Lamanay. We need to, because Lamanay is one of the most important archaeological sites of the 5 countries of the Maya world.
It's only 12 miles, you know.
Because it had contact with Spanish and English, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come from all over the world just to do Lamanay. And I know that the Archaeological Conservancy from Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the United States, when they come to do the Maya world, the last site that they do is Lamanay, because Lamanay is the icing on the archaeological cake for them. And after they have done Lamanay, the following day they fly back to the United States.
Right.
You see? I mean, we need to have good infrastructure. And Johnny, they talk about tourism, development. I mean, he's just paying lip service to tourism. The UDP has invested a lot in tourism.
Of course.
And
days.
And even Johnny says in the Belize time, right, that 1 out of 4 persons are employed in tourism, you know. You see? So, folks, voting for the PUP is to take one step backward. Because in 1989, when the people voted for the PUP, I don't recall if it's Time Magazine or Newsweek Magazine, but I have the photocopy home. And the headline is, Belize votes to go one step backward. Because under Esquivel, he had rescued the economy. He inherited an economy from George Price in 1984 that was on the brink of economic asphyxia, right? And he rescued the economy, but then PUP won in 1989, and so we took one step backward, right? Every time the PUP wins an election, Belize sinks down. And it is the UDP that has to float the country again.
And it's not like the Ottawa does that. No, they know about it.
Yeah. So folks, do the wise thing on November the 11th. Vote strictly for the UDP, because with the UDP, our country is safe. With the PUP, our country is in danger. Remember that we have to have continuity in the public service. And with this COVID situation, Johnny will only make matters worse.
That's true, because, look, I don't know if you remember, you know which country never give prison pass?
Well, only when the PUP is in government.
Can you believe it? You know, we don't want to go back to that again. Then people, when PUP was in power, they actually used to give out prison pass. Man, you get a jail, you don't forget no prison pass. You don't forget our prison pass. And I recall go them, you got certain one right down here too. Or used to come out from prison pass. Then the young man that came out on prison pass, they had national football games at MCC. He was on a prison pass, went to MCC, college games was playing, and execute one person right there. You know, right at the MCC grounds. And their prison pass. We want to go back to that type of thing. We could only say if he never got a prison pass, that person may still live in. Right?
Okay.
We want to go back on that type of thing. Next thing, remember, then we promised you this band SIS. What year was that?
That was the pre-1989 elections.
98 elections.
Coming back to that, right? See what I have here? the BLU, Bresenius Leadership Unreliable, right? And right here is a safe society at home and in the streets. Disband GSU, Gang Suppression Unit. If PUP win, they will disband the GSU. No, you know that the GSU, they try clean up, especially Belize City from the criminal elements, right?
Right.
The gangs. Yeah, there is a war of gangs in Belize City. And Johnny said that he will disband the GSU, right? Now, is this not pandering to the criminal element?
But this is exactly what he did in 98.
In 1989, after the war, they disbanded the SIS, the security.
They brought in the criminals, you know, okay, we need for them vote too. So we are right with them. No, they do the same thing again. Because I don't talk about, oh, on the lockdown south side, on the brand the people there, right? No, you know do that kind of thing if you try gain political mileage. Because we know the behavior of certain people in south side. Because south side got a lot of good people, right? But no, you want to try gain political mileage by criticizing the state of emergency, put the curfew put on them by the government, and which Chester asked for, right?
Yeah.
Like that never a good thing. So we are jump on that. We are criticize that because I want all them bad man on my side, like what they did in 1998. They bring all the criminals in on their side to vote for them. Then crime started to get out of hand under the People's United Party. Crime got out of hand.
Yeah.
Because I can find out a mandala where it said in the editorial, right? When the UDP won, in the editorial it said like this: crime is the son of the PUP. It has now become the stepson of the UDP. That Uno started, my brother. Uno PUP can't say anything, yeah.
Yeah.
Prison pass. Disband the Secret Intelligence Service. No, disband GSU. No, they pull the gangs there on the side. Because Uno need every single vote for try win. No, Johnny come back on record this. I heard him on Love FM when he said that. Because he was criticized heavily for take this call. Good morning, SugarCity Morning Show.
Yeah. Sam,
yes, sir.
Mr. Novello, man, if you could recall back, when the SIS, you notice the plenum of the land, when the SIS within the plenum of the land, the lot of incident where they occurred, none of them occurred. And as they gone in and they ban it, you realize the amount of killing and the amount of crime of the country gone up with. And one lot of unsolved crime. You know what I mean? Now we say, oh, they will ban the GSU. My brother, then it tolerate criminals. They want more criminals. It is just like what I said, you know, then our organization, criminal organization, no, I mean, in politics.
Yeah.
The Belizean have to be careful. The Belizean people are law-abiding citizens.
That's right.
Let's keep it that way.
That's right.
I think 90% of the Belizean people don't have to fear about GSU. We don't have to fear about SIS. We don't have to fear about nothing as long as you live within the laws of the country. You don't have to fear.
Correct.
But anytime you live in criminal behaviors like the PUP, this is what you have to be very careful and you have to be afraid of. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Sam. When Esquivel created the SIS, the Secret Intelligence Service, right? No country in the world can exist without an intelligence service. Now substitute the word intelligence for espionage, because even in the Bible, Jesus told one of his disciples, go by the sea and see who arrived, you know? You see? Because you need to have intelligence, advanced knowledge. And in the case of the SIS, it was to do that, you know, to monitor the people. One of the countries that invests the most in intelligence is the United States. They have the Central Intelligence Agency, SIS. They have the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. They have the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now, England got MI5, MI6, that is Military Intelligence 5, Military Intelligence 6. Scotland Yard is the equivalent of the US FBI. Israel got the Mossad, Russia got the KGB. KGB stands for Comité Государственной Безопасности, right? State Security Committee. And that is the work of an intelligence service, right? To gather information, especially on criminals. And when they disbanded the SIS after the PV1 in 1989, there was a surge in crime. Now, I remember that the day after the elections here in Orange Walk, the criminals, right, were out in the streets. Yeah, ahora podemos sembrar la mota. You know?
That was their belief.
Mm-hmm. You know, and now they're going to disband the GSU. That is to encourage more crime, and there's going to be a surge in crime.
They won't win by armies necessarily.
You know, but it just shows that they are totally irresponsible, politically irresponsible, to say that they want to disband the GSU. Now, folks, if you want a surge in criminal activity, well, the PUP is your answer. But if you want to have criminal activity contained, then we have to keep the GSU.
Exactly.
And that will only happen by voting UDP.
Well, our time is up. Your last word?
Well,
I don't mean go dead, you know.
Okay, I just want the people of Orange Walk and Belize to not entertain the PUP at all. In Orange Walk, we do so by voting for Ms. Lupe Magana in Orange Walk South. We vote for Carlos Satina in Orange Walk North. We vote for Elodio Aragon Jr. in Orange Walk East. And we vote for Benny Grijalba in Orange Walk Central to bring needed upliftment in Orange Walk Central. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Good. Well said, we. With that, remember to vote UDP right across this country because our future matters. And it is an important election, like what the leader of the opposition said. It is an important election because we must vote for the UDP. Our future matters, so it is an important election. So on election day, we go to the polls early. Remember to practice social distancing, wear your mask. The lines, you might say that the line need longer because of the 6 feet distance and what's not, but I'm sure that the process is going to be fast. You sanitize your dipping finger, right? And I think you can wear your own pen, your own pencil. I think I heard that, which I would prefer to take my own. You vote, you come out, and you go home. They don't allow you to gather around. So after you're done vote, you go home and do not forget the curfew. 8 to 5 a.m. So don't forget the curfew, okay? Now, like I will make an appeal once again for the people of Caledonia. I hope that someone was listening to the concerns of the gentleman that called from Caledonia. The streets in the village is terrible, and it needs to be adjusted. This show repeats again tonight, and if you see tonight, well, good night to you. If you know, that good day. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a blessed day. Thanks to you, Rahim. Thanks to the few callers that called. And remember, vote UDP because your future matters. Our future matters. Tata.
Is there anybody out there? Anybody out there? Can anyone hear me now? Can anyone hear me now? It's time to move this country forward. We can put it in the hands of the powers. Patrick Barber and his man, he's not afraid to stand up and fight for and the UDP. We're moving forward. Cause our future matters. We're moving forward. With Patrick and the UDP. Patrick is ready and qualified. That's one thing that no one can deny. He's got the vision and the energy to lead this country and take us where we should be. He's a man of honesty, integrity, unity. That's why we're staying with the UDP. Honesty, integrity, unity. Put Patrick and the UDP. We're moving forward. Because our future matters. We're moving forward. With Patrick and the UDP. Looking forward to a brighter future. In a country led by a leader who has compassion for the poor, who will open the door for the youth like never before. He's a man of honesty, integrity, unity. That's why we're staying with the UDP. Honesty, integrity, unity. Put Patrick and the UDP. We're moving forward. Because our future matters. We're moving forward. With Patrick and the UDP.
Saltar la frontera es ilegal y coloca a toda la nación en riesgo. Nuestros vecinos, Guatemala y México, han experimentado un rápido incremento de casos de contagio de COVID-19 y hay más muertes cada día. Personas entrando a Belice ilegalmente, viniendo de esos países con múltiples casos, no les están haciendo las pruebas de COVID-19. Es por eso que es importante reportar a cualquiera que entre ilegalmente a Belice llamando a nuestras líneas directas. Para Smart, marque 0800-586-7377, 0800-267-3377 y para Digi, marque 0800-728-3293. Tolerar o participar en entrar ilegalmente es ponerte a ti, a tu familia y a todo tu país en riesgo. Recuerda, cualquiera que sea arrestado deberá pagar una multa de hasta 5,000 y o prisión por 2 años. Detén el salto de fronteras hoy. Este mensaje es presentado por el Departamento de Policía de Belice y el Banco de Belice.
Llegó el día de elección. Check. Llegó el día de elección, todos juntos con pasión. Vamos a votar por una mejor nación. Vámonos para adelante, no hay nadie que nos aguante. Carlos Cetina para que nos represente. Votemos todos por Carlos Cetina. Un hombre con visión tiene la solución y todo su trabajo lo hace con pasión. Votemos todos por Carlos Cetina. En el día de elección no demos explicación. Hagamos lo correcto por nuestra nación. Para todo hay solución, una buena explicación. Nuestra gente en primera posición. No hablamos de más, trabajamos por más. Nuestra palabra es nuestra prioridad. Que se vea la bandera y que este ritmo suene. Y la voz es de la gente que retumbe y duele. No vamos a parar, venimos para ganar. Carlos Cetina nos va a representar. Votemos todos por Carlos Cetina. Un hombre con visión tiene la solución y todo su trabajo lo hace con pasión. Votemos todo por Carlos Cetina. En el día de elección no demos explicación. Hagamos lo correcto por nuestra nación. Yo, en el día de elección hagamos lo correcto. Votemos Carlos Cetina, Orange Rock North. Tú sabes, prosperidad, mejor futuro para ti, para mí y para nuestros hijos. ¡Hey!
2020 ha sido un año desafiante. COVID-19 ha puesto a prueba la resistencia de nuestro país y nuestro partido sin medida. Esta pandemia nos ha afectado a todos, pero seguimos siendo fuertes y seguimos luchando. El miércoles 21 de octubre es el día de las nominaciones y por mucho que todos estemos emocionados de celebrar contigo, necesitamos ser responsables para que todos podamos estar seguros. Este año te invitamos a presenciar la nominación virtual de nuestros candidatos en vivo en las redes sociales. Creemos que el 2020 requiere que mostremos nuestro corazón, mas no nuestros músculos. Por eso estamos organizando recursos para seguir ayudando a los más necesitados. Y el día de las elecciones mostraremos nuestros verdaderos músculos, nuestros gel antibacterial y nuestros cubrebocas. Sal temprano, recuerda el distanciamiento social y vota por UDP, porque tu futuro importa.
Boy, I late again. What? The name there yet? No time to sleep then.
Ugh, where did I put my license? What? More cash? Yes.
Oh my god, that's a huge slice. More for me.
Money, money.
Who doesn't love having more of your favorite things?
Stop your money right.
With Digicel's new prepaid data plans, you get more data to do more of the things you love. That's more chats, more snaps, more surfing, more videos, more everything. So go ahead, live your best life with Digi. Whatever that may be.
Let's take a look at the PUP DNA. Julius Espat, representative for Cayo South, was sold the Chief Justice residence by a PUP government for a mere pittance and turned around and flipped it for over $1 million. Cousin Luke Espat got a sweetheart pass from the then PUP government when they sold him the country's most valuable asset in the Port Belize, and he allowed Ashcroft to take it over. Now cousin Mike Espat, representative for Toledo East, brought the VOA compound in PG with a DFC loan, which was later written off. He sold it for millions. Corruption is in the PUP DNA. This is the same old PUP.